The following contains spoilers to Avengers, Age of Ultron, Civil War, Infinity War. This is Countdown to Endgame.
This is the Bunzarelli
Show. We have not seen the leaked footage. There's some leaked footage out there. Don't know why somebody did it, what their motivations were, but I checked with Khiim. I called him. Emergency situation. Made sure he wasn't compromised, and we're both good. So anything we say in this show is just speculation based on speculation. So first order of business, I want to welcome back to the show my buddy Khiim.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Glad to be here.
You know, I kind of like the idea of doing both these movies together because this is kind of like the apex of the journey of the Avengers, I felt like. It's like a big up and down, and, you know, like we'll start with the contrast is Age of Ultron, where it starts, is kind of like the Avengers on the top of their game.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, they're free from S.H.I.E.L.D. Not that S.H.I.E.L.D. really monitored them, but they don't answer to anybody pretty much.
They're kind of just doing their thing.
Which is going to, of course, lead into later. But the opening scene, now, I had said something about, and I kind of lost my place on it the last show we did, but like when I was talking to Joss Whedon's visual style,
yeah,
there's like the really cool thing about it is he has that, like, he loves doing that group Avengers shot.
Yeah, he does.
Like that.
Everybody's just doing it and it's kind of panning around.
Yeah, it's like for the comic book fan, like that slow motion, like scope shot. And he does it in this movie, but there's something, you tell me, if and he has a couple of those good shots in this movie too, but something about that, the Jeep scene and the fighting, it seemed a little visually messy. Did you catch any of that?
I mean, I don't know. I was honestly, I didn't maybe not have caught it. I did like it though, just for the fact that he was able to kind of carry in the momentum ending from the last one, you know? Like we kind of dove right back in and still had that same feeling from the ending movie.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the worst thing. It was just something I noticed.
Yeah.
Like, I think maybe it was just like the characters moving so much in different directions. Like in the first Avengers, like there's an awesome shot where it's just going and it's just like, you know, Hawkeye shoots an arrow and it zips over to Hulk punching a dragon and all this different Levithian, but all this like, you know, different things going on. It's just, you know, it's just his style and everything. Maybe just the snow or something, but it's just a small little criticism. But
okay.
It's important to put where the Avengers are at. So I looked it up on the timeline. So this is after the fall of S.H.I.E.L.D., obviously, Winter Soldier, after Iron Man 3, and after Thor 2, The Dark World, which really doesn't play too much into this, but that's where we're at.
Okay.
The Black Widow thing with Hulk. I feel like we kind of lost that now that I'm watching it again. Did you notice that? Like in Infinity War.
Yeah.
All we have is hi, Natasha, and that's it.
Yeah.
And this romance, not only is it in this movie, but they mention it in Dark World. If you remember, like how, you know, the vision, like on the screen, they show one and it calms him down and everything. I hope this doesn't get kicked to the side because I really like this Wanda Hulk thing.
Yeah, you do. I mean, me personally, I kind of don't like it.
Really?
Yeah. I kind of felt like it was forced a little bit. Like I don't know, it just wasn't. I guess it was just so strange. It was just kind of unbelievable, you know, in a way. I guess. I don't know.
No, I hear what you're saying. See, I thought what was neat was because like the whole like, well, I got the monster within and he's got the monster on the outside and some of like that tension stuff.
Yeah,
but
it seems very just awkward to me. It's always just come off as very awkward. Like I never believed it, you know.
Maybe that's why they drop it then. Maybe that's why they're kind of like kicking it to the wayside. I don't know if it's going to come into play with. It just seemed like in Infinity War, they just like glancingly mentioned it and it never come up. It never came up.
I don't know.
So when I originally like was going to do this show, and originally because I was a big fan of Ultron, the character himself, and James Spader, and I thought it was going to be all about that. But what I didn't notice. I mean, of course, you see these things, you understand they're to lead into Infinity War.
Yeah, hindsight.
But when you see them again, I mean, there were some moments in this movie, like the dream sequence.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, like it leads into the fall of the Asgard and all that, like Thor's dream sequence. But then Thor with the lightning around him. Totally didn't catch that the first time around.
Yeah.
Like alluding to his powers coming up.
I remember there's even a scene where like Stark's talking and he mentions, he's like, okay, this is the end game.
Yeah, that's the end game.
Yeah, I was just like,
wow, it's like the third time we've heard of it. Like, how long have they had this title planned? And that goes when you go into Iron Man, like, you know, we mentioned before how this whole thing's been a character development for him. So the nukes lead into Ultron. Yeah. You know, the nuke from Avengers 1 lead into Ultron. And it's just constant repercussions. It's a constant journey. You know, his panic attacks from Iron Man 3 from seeing that. And then his like desperation is like, he knows there's a threat out there. So he's kind of jumping the gun. Yeah. And Cap hasn't seen what he Tony's seen.
Yeah, no one has seen what he saw. He was in space and saw the army that was about to come.
Yeah, he just straight up looked at an army of ships. Yeah. That was the last thing he saw before he and then it goes to, you know, he's going to make Ultron to just stop the problem. Yeah. Just
basically put a net around the Earth is what he was trying to do.
And it's showing into kind of like his little robots and stuff. And, you know, like that birth scene of Ultron. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like when he's actually comes online and just comes aware. That's a pretty awesome scene.
Yeah, it is an awesome scene. I personally wish, I feel like in a way, they kind of rushed it.
You think so?
Yeah, I kind of feel like they rushed the whole coming of Ultron. Like it was just kind of like, you know, I don't know.
And maybe that's why it was like, in the big picture. Like looking at it now, we're seeing the leads in the Endgame. Yeah. But maybe not even knowing, maybe Ultron's character development took a little back seat for shooting towards setting up Infinity War.
Maybe.
Because it's, like James Spader's performance and the actual character is awesome. No,
it's hands down though. That was a great villain. It really was.
His motivation and everything, but I could see he's like the dot just kind of zipping through, and then you got the Scarlet Witch Quicksilver thing, which is cool because we have, you know, of course, Scarlet Witch became this great character. I want to ask you something. So at this point in the movie, Marvel and Fox had this weird contingency in the deal where both of them had the rights to Quicksilver. I don't know why anybody thought that was a good idea.
I don't know either. Yeah.
Some of these deals, it's like, did anybody, like the Venom deal with Sony? It's like, now you can't use Venom, but it's okay. Venom was a decent movie, but it's like, so shortly after the Ultron trailers were coming out, then all of a sudden Fox makes this announcement, goes, hey, before he was in the Avengers, there was Quicksilver was an X-Man, and just kind of confuses everybody. And I'm wondering, because of that, did Quicksilver die because Marvel was like, you know what, we don't even want to
kind of prematurely.
Let's just knock this out of the way.
I really don't know. That's another thing. Like, I do like this movie a lot, but there's just a few things in it that are just kind of like in poor taste. And the way I feel like Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver were delivered to us in this movie, they kind of fell short on it. You know, they kind of played a backseat. And then for Scarlet Witch to become such a key, essential role later down the road, we didn't even really get like a good, you know.
Yeah, her flip is pretty quick. Yeah. And it's, because then when you get into Civil War, it's funny because and we're going to jump into Civil War, but even when they talk about like, you know, they're scared of her because of the accident. Yeah. But it's like, they didn't even mention, what about the other stuff when you were working for Ultron?
Yeah, you know.
it's like that. Yeah, the stuff from Ultron just kind of disappears. Like it didn't happen almost.
It's strange.
As far as the character developments, like the actual, obviously the repercussions of the actual
Ultron going online and becoming who he was.
The repercussions of what happens in Sokovia going to Civil War, but not actually Scarlet Witch's relationship to Ultron, which maybe the world didn't see or anything. It was just some of that stuff that doesn't get mentioned. I don't know.
Yeah.
Quicksilver never gets mentioned again.
Yeah.
She never says my brother. Like she just brushed that off really quick. Yeah.
It was kind of strange now looking back at it.
One of the things I love about this movie was War Machine. I'm a big War Machine fan.
Yeah, definitely. I'm a Don Cheadle fan.
Yeah. Iron Man, from the comics, I never read a lot of Iron Man. But War Machine, like seeing War Machine on the cover. Yeah. Because in the comics, Rhodey actually takes over for as Iron Man for a little bit. And then when Tony Stark comes back, he gets the War Machine costume, but in Iron Man 2, when they showed War Machine was going to be there, I was like, oh, all about it. Well, and that was when they switched actors, when Don Cheadle just stepped into the role. And, took it from Terrence Howard.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he didn't take it, but, he inherited it from, but I was so excited. Like, when you talk about those rewind moments you can watch over and over again, the part where Iron Man and War Machine are back to back, just spraying those robots.
Yeah.
It's I watched that like 10 times. I just love the War Machine. And where that comes into play is we've talked about, is this the end for Iron Man? Mm-hmm. Hope it's not the end for War Machine.
Yeah, I hope not. I hope not.
And what do you think the character? It's not that he hasn't had development. It's just kind of like we know him. He's been consistent and stuff. But would you be down for a War Machine movie? I
mean, honestly, it would depend on how they delivered it.
Yeah.
Because like you said, it's not that we don't know who he is, but he's kind of just always been that back burner character.
Yeah.
I think the possibility is there, yeah.
I do think he could definitely be an Avenger and have that presence of Iron Man without being Iron Man.
Well, yeah, if you're talking about that route of like a new Avengers team, definitely.
Now, the curious thing about that is if Tony's gone, and we're just speculating on that, but if Tony's gone, like, how does he maintenance the suit or anything? Like, does Rhodey know how to work that thing?
Yeah.
He knows how to work it, but he doesn't know how to fix it and stuff.
Yeah.
So maybe he has like a little thing where a kind of Jarvis type thing that kind of maintenances the suit for himself or whatever. But it's just a curiosity as I was thinking, how long is that suit going to last? Is it going to rust without Tony Stark there? But,
definitely.
So here's an interesting fact. So one of the things that kind of alludes to why Joss Whedon kind of got either burnt out or stressed or something. I'm not sure the exact things. But he did mention there was a problem with Joss Whedon wanted to do the Hawkeye's house scene. And he wanted to do it to give the movie like a little rest for a second. That was his idea. It was kind of like take a break from the action, have some dialogue and stuff, and it serves that purpose.
Yeah.
But to get that scene in, he was kind of like having a little back and forth with the studio execs from what his point of view was. And they wanted him to do the thing with Thor in the water, the dream sequence.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, well, it was to the effect where like he had to have the dream sequence if he wanted to keep his farm scene. Now, but the funny thing about the farm scene is even though it was just that little break and it served that purpose, what it's really going to mean, because it's almost pretty clear that Hawkeye lost his family.
Yeah.
In Endgame.
Yeah.
So this farm scene actually makes that more sad because
it does.
You see him talking to his wife, hugging his kids, Black Widow hugging his kids. Like they show in the additional teaser, it's Black Widow that goes and gets him.
Yeah.
And now that is more powerful because we had that scene. It was just something I kind of picked up on.
Yeah.
Like had we not had that farm scene, and we just see him like, I lost my family. Everybody's like,
there would
what?
be no weight to it. Yeah.
You didn't even know he had a family except for that.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they did that with Endgame in mind because I don't think Joss was more concerned about his movie than the big Infinity War thing. Not saying right or wrong, but that's just,
You think it's just something that just kind of ended up working out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was an idea like, oh, wait, Hawkeye's got this family.
How can we play off that?
How can we play off that? And Hawkeye kind of stepped out of Infinity War and it's just cool. It's just that whole thing where you just see him turn around. All you see him just turn around looking just broken.
Yeah.
And you could read everything into that scene, like just rock bottom, lost. It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's just funny how that turned out. Oh. Savage Hulk. Savage freaking blood-eyed, just crazy Hulk. What'd you think about that?
It's great. How can you not love the Hulk no matter what he is,
That was nuts. That was like just seeing Hulk just lose it.
Yeah.
Just like you could take the red in his eyes and everything, and it's like the call in Veronica thing.
Yeah.
And then Veronica, of course, plays a big role later and everything. But yeah, that was cool, and it was cool to see that contingency that they had set up and everything. And he actually mentions before, like, hey, we wouldn't need Veronica if this and that. You could retire.
Yeah.
Things like that was just really cool. But that scene was just awesome.
The Hulk's always just, like, I'll say it time and time again, that's like one of my favorite Marvel characters.
And that's so much the novelty of, which was cool in the beginning, with the novelty of like the big armor and everything and the fight with Hulk, but really just seeing that there's so much going on with Hulk.
Yeah.
Like, you know, which, and if we do get that smart Hulk, like this character is so, what's the word I'm looking for? Just complex and everything. And it's, and like I said, because they're not trapped by having the solo Hulk movie.
Yeah.
And just being free to explore them in all these other movies. It's really cool.
They've done it in an interesting way versus all the rest of the characters who have had their own movies, pretty much, you know?
What are your thoughts on this? The Russo brothers had said something, because everybody's like wondering why Hulk didn't come out during Infinity War and everything.
Yeah.
And they, they pretty much said the answer, because everybody's thinking like, is Hulk scared because he got his kicked by Thanos?
Yeah.
But the other thing is like, well, Hulk's just kind of, what the Russo brothers said, but it doesn't necessarily mean the truth or anything, because Loki could be the Hulk for all we know.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know anything, but they said something to the effect of, the Hulk is just tired of doing things for Banner.
Yeah.
He's like, why am I doing this? I don't care about any of this, which kind of makes sense. I don't know. And maybe that's, if we do get the smart Banner, maybe it's something, you know, whatever's going on in his head. It's like, okay, if you're not going to do this, I'm driving.
Yeah, I'm going to make you.
And maybe that's what gives us the smart Hulk.
Yeah.
Still, we don't know if that's happening. Just, it's a theory out there. I'm hoping for it. I just love to see different stuff happen with the Hulk.
Yeah.
I want to see Gray Hulk still.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely.
Do you know about the Gray Hulk?
Yeah, I want to see a whole Hulk universe.
I love the Gray Hulk. Gray Hulk was like a bouncer in a casino and stuff. It was, what was his name? It was like Joe something. It was cool. He was a cool character.
Yeah.
He had his own personality. And then you voice him. And then if you want to pull off Gray Hulk, you voice him by somebody else.
Yeah.
To give him that full...
Yeah, to give him his own
make
identity.
Make him a different character.
Yeah.
You can have him like motion captured by a different actor. I think that would be the trick to that.
Yeah, I agree.
Because Hulk's an extension of Banner, but Gray Hulk is like his own thing. And then besides Hulk, and we talk about like these new characters and everything coming in, big part of the movie kind of just like, and maybe this is another reason why the whole Ultron thing, because of everything they were doing in this movie, they made the Vision a part of Ultron, a part of the Stone, but Vision, his arrival and his birth. Now, Vision is a cool character.
Definitely.
And the way he comes, like that first scene where he just like pops out and he floats towards the window. I mean, that was a bad scene.
It really was. Goosebumps given.
I mean, he just knocks Thor out of the way. And it's funny because Captain America, like Iron Man's about to do the exact same thing. Tony, he's going to do the exact same thing. He's messing with a stone.
Yeah.
And there's kind of like, and those tensions are starting to come out between him and Captain America. And then Thor jumps in. He's seen the Vision. He goes, you know, he takes the hammer, makes it happen, wakes him up. Then, of course, like Vision and his like delivery and everything. Interesting fact somebody brought up online, but the first thing Vision looks at is Wanda upon being born.
Yeah.
It's the first thing he sees, but his presence and really the big scene is him picking up that hammer.
Definitely.
First time I saw that, like,
everybody's just like, well.
Yeah. He's like, look, I know you can't trust me, but we got to go.
Like, okay, we trust him. Let's go.
That was and that kind of leads into, so they're all formulating a plan. Plus he's connected to Ultron. And that brings us to our final battle. And the final battle, like the scale of it and Ultron and everything happening, it's, you know, the real part of this battle, you know, visually cool.
Yeah.
Avengers back in action. But the real part of this battle is the dropping of Sokovia.
Yeah.
And the destruction that it caused. And of course, they minimized some of it and everything. But just that, I don't know if Sokovia was bigger than New York as far as like the death toll.
Yeah.
And a lot of it might be the Avengers' involvement in it.
Yeah.
But
I think it was just because even in the movie you could kind of see that they were kind of like playing propaganda, like there's a propaganda war kind of going on in Sokovia, you know, to where they were trying to like push the Avengers were the bad guys and all that kind of stuff. So I don't know if that kind of took weight into it.
Yeah, they didn't want the Avengers there in the first place.
Didn't
Even
want
in the
them.
beginning of the
Yeah,
scene,
exactly.
they were kind of getting tired of them, like coming around and, you know, your war and everything. Which is it's a real point of view.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, you're trying to save me, but you tear up my town. Guess what? Like, I've got to call my insurance guy.
Yeah.
You know, people are dying. No matter who you saved, if someone close to me dies and you guys were there, I'm going to take it down on you. And that goes to the repercussions. And like I said, this movie starts out with them on top of them game, answering to nobody.
Yeah.
And then what's going to happen is the results of this, they're going to have to answer in Civil War.
Yeah.
So we're going to take a break. And when we get back, we're going to talk about Captain America Civil War right after this.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for a better option than cable? Well, let me tell you about SlingTV. SlingTV is live TV, only better. Choose the service that's best for you, starting at $25 a month. And then you could add on extras like sports, comedy, kids. Get the SlingTV app on your favorite device and start watching instantly. And if you sign up with our link, you'll get $5 off your first 3 months. Terms and conditions may apply. Go to sling.bunzrally.com for more information. Or look for the link in this episode description. We said how Age of Ultron starts out with everybody on top of their game, and now it's kind of weird because, like, Civil War, the way it takes place is, I don't want to say they're spiraling downwards or there's any, but there's, you know, Cap's got his new team.
Yeah.
And, you know, they're kind of just operating, and you kind of see it more after, of course, Wanda's accident in the beginning, but, like, the meeting with General Ross and everything, and you kind of see where, like, not so much, and it's really not General Ross. It's really like he's representing the world consensus.
Yeah, basically.
And the message we're getting is, you guys got to answer to somebody.
Yeah,
we're kind of getting tired of...
you guys can't keep going about it the same way.
And, of course, Iron Man takes that stance where he's agreeing, and it kind of shows that opening scene where Iron Man confronts the mother and everything, and once again, Tony's dealing with repercussions. Because Ultron was his bad. It was his fault. So he's just like...
He's probably feeling a lot more of the weight than the rest of the team is.
Yeah, and it's almost like... Because some people would look at it like hypocritical, like, well, it's your fault. But the other thing is you could look at it like Iron Man saying, like, okay, I'm turning myself in.
Yeah, basically.
Pretty much. Like, his guilt. He's like, you know, he's showing the other guys the pictures and everything.
It's like, look, I messed up. I'm willing to cooperate. Like, how can we fix the situation?
Yeah, I'd like to answer to somebody. Yeah. I mean, to that way, kind of like take the weight off my shoulders.
Yeah, exactly.
The Bucky stuff going on. Now, the Bucky dynamic is interesting because it's Cap's... I didn't realize it to watch it again, but it's really the only piece Steve has to himself.
Yeah.
Especially because Peggy just died.
Mm-hmm.
So that's all he has left is Bucky, his one friend.
Yeah.
And that kind of gets better later because because you watch it the first time, it's like, okay, yeah, I have buddies too, but you're going through a lot of trouble for your buddy.
Yeah.
But I think the fact is that fake threat that there's other Winter Soldiers makes it more of a mission. It kind of helps make it more believable.
Yeah, it does.
Because wouldn't you just like bring them in and then just like bring them in and explain everything to everybody? And of course he breaks out and everything, but so the explosion with the Wakanda representatives, and now we bring in Black Panther.
Yeah.
You know, there's two characters were introduced, and we're going to get to SpiderMan later, but Black Panther, you know, you meet his father, you really get to know the Black Panther in this movie.
Yeah, really quickly, too.
Yeah, I mean,
they delivered well.
And he's consistent with his character in Black Panther, and of course, you didn't have to watch Civil War to watch Black Panther.
Not at all.
It just starts out with his father died, and don't explain the whole Civil War thing, and you could start right at that movie, which is good.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn a little more, you watch Civil War, but Black Panther, just he's cool. He just, he's cool. That's all I got. But I remember watching it the first time because I remember seeing the trailers because it got to a point where you're like, the original teasers, everybody was waiting for Spider-Man because we heard the deal was going down. We heard they told Tom Holland report to set.
Yeah.
Because I think Civil War is actually being filmed while the deal was going down.
Uh-huh. And
even the first trailers, they didn't show us Spider-Man because... And they explained was like, we're still signing stuff.
Yeah.
We're not sure yet.
Yeah.
And then there was even trailers where there's like a gap between characters where Spider-Man actually goes in later. So, and when you watch the trailers, you're watching Black Panther and you're like, oh, they're going to squeeze every character they could think of, you know?
Yeah.
And
that's kind of how, they delivered. I'd definitely say that this besides Captain America Winter Soldier was probably the best of the Avengers series so far. They really delivered on it.
Now, this isn't, of course, an Avengers movie. It's the Russo brothers, but they did Winter Soldier, and it comes over to this. But once again, I think because they did this movie and this large ensemble cast so well, they're like, oh, they gave him the keys, and like, oh, you guys could do it.
Yeah,
they did, and we talked about that. We'll talk about that more in when we actually do Infinity War, like how the Russos' impact on that, because that's their Avengers movie.
Yeah,
but I did notice something, and watching it again. Even though everybody, Tony Stark's in character, he's Tony Stark. Everybody's doing their thing, but I still feel like it was a Captain America movie.
Yeah, I would agree. I'd agree.
Just at least for the fact that
he was more so, it more so dealt with him like
his point of view.
Yeah,
at
his
least.
point of view, exactly.
Yeah,
like Tony Stark was in the movie, but he was kind of more just the counterpart. Yeah, everything I would say was more so kind of coming from Captain America's point of view.
Tony was in, like I said, Tony was in character. He was being Tony, but it was just, like I said, it's Captain America's problem. He's dealing with it.
Yeah, exactly.
And Iron Man's a side character that everything else, Black Widow and everybody, but everything going on. General Ross is there, and that is General Ross from The Incredible Hulk. And he still hasn't met Bruce Banner. And we still haven't seen what that relationship is. I don't know if he survived the snap or not, but even just a hologram of, him giving Hulk the look.
Some kind of a notion.
Like, you threw my tank, bro.
Yeah.
Something. Just
some kind of notion. That'd be
I want some acknowledgement. He did make the line like, well, we're Banner and Thor. If I lost 2 nukes. And of course, they're doing Ragnarok. And really, this movie, I don't think you could have done this with Thor and Hulk.
Oh, no.
And if you did do it with Thor and Hulk, somebody would have to die.
Yeah, somebody's going to die.
Yeah, Hulk ain't giving nobody like a love tap or something.
Yeah, he's not going to just hit you
unless
and be
Hulk
like, okay.
and Thor are just on the opposite sides punching each other, but nobody else. Yeah, they can only punch each other.
Yeah, I agree. It was a smart decision to play that out the way they did. I just, I'd say I like the gravity that was brought to this movie. You know, like you can really understand like the political views that were going in. You didn't necessarily take either side. Like I know for the whole promotion of the movie, it was Team Cap and Team Iron Man. Yeah. But watching the movie, you kind of side with both of them. You're like, I can see. You find that relationship with both sides. Like I see where you're coming from. I see where he's coming from. And I feel like that really brought weight to that scene of Captain America and Iron Man fighting. Yeah, because especially at the end with the reveal Iron Man has. Let's just jump to that because I want to get to SpiderMan first. Okay, yeah. So when they're starting to assemble the teams and things start splitting up and everything, and it was cool watching it again because the first time you watch, it's like, okay, it's the introduction of Spider-Man. Yeah. But what it also is really the introduction is of Peter and Tony. Is the start of that relationship, which is carrying into everything. Great. That's great. And I like the fact that I don't know if it's Robert Downey Jr. and he's just his ability to deliver as an actor. Mm-hmm. But it seems that every relationship that's built around his character is a lot more believable than, relationships that are built around other characters. Yeah, he has a chemistry, with everybody. Yeah, he really does. Him and Cap have a certain chemistry. Him and Piper, him and Peter. Yeah. He's built a lot of relationships throughout this whole story that are just actually really believable. And about that, what I noticed is if you didn't see Spider-Man Homecoming and you went from Civil War to Infinity War, the relationship is still consistent. It's still there, yeah. It's still, and you're still, kid, what are you doing here? You know they have a relationship, which is, there's a lot of, people say things like, I don't even know where to start. I haven't seen all the movies. Yeah. I don't think they ever made it that you have to see all the movies. I don't really think so. I think you get different pieces of things in movies. Yeah. But I've never felt like I had to see every single movie to appreciate. I mean, if you just watched Infinity War and started out with that, I would say, it's a bunch of superheroes running around. Yeah, they definitely did a good job with that. It's where you can watch each movie individually and enjoy it as a single piece. Yeah. But also watch all of them together and get a grander story. Yeah.
And, you know, it stops some people, but I don't think it should. I think every movie, like, kind of holds its own.
Yeah, definitely. But I will say I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, let's talk about Spider-Man more, because the way they approached him, where he's just like a kid, and he's a little naive, and just excited. He's like, oh, this is awesome, man.
And that's Peter Parker. Like, you know, that's Peter Parker.
It's really good, and, you know, you look back, and you want to say, oh, he's so much better than Tobey Maguire. But the real thing is, when the first Spider-Man came out, we thought it was the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah.
And it was him, and it was like, the Sam Raimi movies have a tone, and they kind of blew it in the end, but
I don't knock anything off Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man at all.
Tobey Maguire, I liked his Spider-Man. I liked his Peter Parker. I liked his dynamic with Mary Jane.
Definitely.
I liked that stuff.
Yeah, definandrew
And then even when you go to Andrew Garfield, I like Tobey better, but I tell you what I liked about just Amazing Spider-Man. I liked Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone better than Tobey and Kirsten in the first one. I liked that dynamic of she knows. How can I explain it? It was like Mary Jane found out, and then she got kidnapped 2 more times, and Peter had to rescue her. And then, you know, Emma and Andrew Garfield felt more like Pepper and Tony, where it was like, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what we need to do. I know what you're doing. Here, I can help. No, you can't help. That stuff was really cool.
I agree.
Problem was Amazing Spider-Man 2 suffered from the same thing as Spider-Man 3. They were trying to world build, and they wanted to do this Sinister Six movie, kind of like this half-brained. But then all of a sudden, it's hard to make fun of Sony for everything, because they kind of like, they started running with Venom. Yeah. Venom was like, okay, cool. And then Spider-Verse. Yeah. The greatest thing that ever happened to Spider-Man, maybe, is like, so I can't knock Sony as much, like, you know, they got some like Morbius and stuff going on. But of all the Spider-Man, I will say this, I don't think the other 2 Spider-Man would fit into the MCU like this Spider-Man. I don't know if the other 2 Spider-Man would work with Tony.
I agree. I don't think Tobey Maguire would at all. Andrew Garfield, maybe, but Tom Holland, he fits perfect.
Yeah, Andrew was a little younger, but the one thing would have, seeing Tobey Maguire fade away would have hit the heart a little harder, just because we've known Tobey for so long. Yeah. Like, it was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It would have had more weight on that death.
Yeah, but like, Tobey can't play. I want to say he's Tobey. Tobey's Spider-Man. Yeah. He can't switch up and be the naive kid anymore.
Yeah, and I don't think
that's a seasoned Spider-Man.
I don't think the chemistry between him and Tony Stark would work. Yeah. Because, like, Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man just wasn't, it was a different take, but it wasn't comic book Spider-Man, you know? It wasn't that goofy, joking around all the time. It was kind of more dramatic-filled Spider-Man.
And even when Tobey Maguire made a joke, it was like,
it was awkward.
Yeah, it was awkward. It was like the writer said, "Oh, Spider-Man hasn't made a joke yet."
Yeah, exactly.
Like when he goes to Randy Macho Man Savage, one of my favorite parts of that movie. Yeah, like, Bonesaws, ready? And he goes, "Oh, that's a lovely costume. Did your husband make it for you?" And it's like, you know, just like, well, Spider-Man's supposed to make a wisecrack. Let's write one in here. Yeah. And he never made a wisecrack. Here's the thing: he never was actually funny or silly as Peter. It was a little bit of a contrast. Tom Holland is very consistent as Peter and Spider-Man.
It's the same.
He's always the same guy in the costume. And it's just, this Spider-Man is just...
They delivered. They were, between him and Black Panther, they were able to introduce 2 characters and get us behind them by the end of the movie. It's where we were looking forward to Homecoming. We were looking forward to Black Panther's solo movie, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Just knowing that character. And
and had everybody sitting there waiting, like wanting more. They did great.
So we have the airport battle. Speaking of Black Panther and Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Awesome showcase for both those characters.
Yeah, definitely. For everyone, really. For everyone.
I had a little problem with Ant-Man.
Really?
A little bit, until he becomes Giant Man. But you know what problem I had to part with was when he takes a little truck in his hand and he throws it and tells Cap, throw this. It was almost like, I don't know. I'm more of an enthusiast than a critic, but I'm being honest. It's like, it was almost like we better check off all Ant-Man's powers and display them real quick. Yeah. It's like, wait, I can do this. I can do that. I don't know. I didn't like the Ant-Man becoming Giant Man was the highlight, because it was like the surprise of, it was like that other ability. And once again, it's something that comes into play later, like in the trailers. He's like, remember me? I turned big. And I really think Ant-Man got his character development in Ant-Man and the Wasp. I think they finally balanced him in that movie.
They did.
Where it was like, it was smoother.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, let's check off the list of things. It was.
Yeah. Because I would say up until that movie, I really didn't care for Ant-Man as a character all that much.
Yeah.
I kind of felt like he was squeezed in like a last idea kind of thing.
I think part of it is because to make Ant-Man not silly, they had to it was really complex to explain all of his powers.
Yeah.
So once that's out of the way, that's why Ant-Man and the Wasp, it's like, brought in the Wasp. Same powers. You know the deal. Another suit. And they just go on the mission. And Ant-Man and the Wasp was a really good one.
Yeah, it was.
That was the best of Ant-Man. But yeah, there's the airport scene, the rush for the plane. And of course, then they go to, well, let's get into the final battle with Cap and Iron Man, the reveal that Winter Soldier kills his parents.
Yeah.
And we've known from Iron Man 1, his parents died in a car accident. They show that opening scene with the young Robert Downey was awesome. And they've used that de-aging technology since. And every time they use it, it's freaking amazing.
Yeah.
And it's great. But it was cool too because you don't have to know Iron Man too much. Like I said, it set that up. His parents were killed.
Mm-hmm.
And that wasn't forced. That actually happened. But they recapped that very well.
Yeah.
The car accident. Show the car a couple times to where when Iron Man goes, I know that street, you start putting it together.
Pieces.
But that reveal, and Iron Man just kind of like, and it was funny, Iron Man figured everything out. He's on board, and all of a sudden, like, whoa.
Yeah.
Blind rage, which totally understandable. Even if whatever you think, and he goes, it wasn't him. He was under Hydra's control. He goes, I don't care.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just blindly pissed off.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course, like the Cap battling him, and awesome fighting scene.
Like I said, they just always find a way of making Iron Man's relationship hold so much gravity to them.
That is the rock bottom for everything. Like Zemo said, I'm going to tear them up from within. And if you look at like, the actual Accords and everything was the start of the tensions and everything. But that final move, it's like it just broke up the Avengers. Powerful Black Panther moment in this movie. I don't know why. Black Panther says he says like 2 lines or everything. And it characterizes him so well. When he goes to when Zemo explains, like, I didn't mean to kill your father. And he goes, everybody's blinded by vengeance. I will not let it consume me. Or he goes, it's consume you, it's consume. Yeah. And he just stands up and it's like, and then Zemo goes to blow his brains out and he goes, the living are not done with you yet. Just awesome. Like Black Panther is just on point. And he was a background character of this movie. And the role he played in this, like the onlooker and the observer, but also he had his own agenda when his father died.
His father, yeah.
Black Panther, perfect in this movie. And I don't think it's why Black Panther was such a success. But I know it's what made me want to see Black Panther.
It was definitely a way to get us hooked.
Yeah, but I don't know, something about that, just like Black Panther being like the wrap up of the whole thing, because the Avengers are just, that scene with Cap gives him back the shield. He goes, "That's my father's shield. My father made that shield." So you go on that no, I'm sorry, when Black Panther's talking, they're still fighting.
Yeah.
But it's just that somebody actually looking at the whole scope of the thing, he played that role, but really great.
Yeah, from the outside, not really having like any connection other than his father being killed.
Interesting things is like what I'm looking forward to with Endgame. And I almost don't want to watch any more trailers, of course, because of what we do. I got to keep posting trailers and stuff, but it's like, well, I still don't see the initial first meet. I wish I didn't know that Iron Man and Cap got back together. Yeah. I wish I would have just show us everything but that. I wanted to see that dynamic when they get back together. Obviously, like Peter Parker once said to Harry in Spider-Man 2, he goes, there's bigger things going on right now than you and me. Apparently, I'm sure watching the whole world get dusted is going to make other things seem small and trivial. Yeah. Maybe, here's a question. So the Russo brothers had said something. They said, we had a bunch of cards on a table of each character, and we were passing them back and forth, deciding who survives a snap, who doesn't survive a snap. And they said one thing we knew was the original Avengers were going to stay, which they did. But I bet it was intentional to make Winter Soldier disappear.
Yeah, because then how else,
Because even if you let things go and you let things drop, you still can't just stand next. You can't just high five Winter Soldier after all that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At least Winter Soldier's got to be gone for that moment.
Yeah.
When Iron Man can't walk into the building and Winter Soldier's sitting there and he's just,
he
got his feet on the table.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that was a good move. Probably I think it was a conscious move to get rid of Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
For the sake of the storytelling. But I do notice from the teasers, Cap's got the shield back.
Yeah.
So they put that which is cool. It's like I said, this movie ends pretty much with the Avengers rock bottom, and Tony even says it to Bruce. He goes, "We broke up."
Yeah.
Cap gives him the phone. If you ever need him, call him. Has the number and everything.
Yeah.
But just cool place it leaves us leading into Infinity War.
Definitely. It really does.
And we're going to talk about that the next show, and we'll continue our countdown to Endgame. So we'll see you guys next time. Khiim, thanks again. I'm so glad this was your idea, and I'm glad you're a part of this. So thanks for coming in, brother.
Thank you.